Hi everyone, welcome to Reading with Eve, and let's get on with the bookish video. This one is going to be short because I only have 4 books to talk about, but it is recommendations of nature-themed horror. So not necessarily books where nature is a villain, but just books that have like strong nature imagery or some kind of commentary. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get on with it. So the first book that I would like to talk about, I don't actually have it because I unhauled it since I only gave it 2 stars, and I don't really like to keep books that I ranked that low. And I know it's a bit contradictory because it's a recommendation list, but I have a rule that if it's a themed recommendation, I would recommend books that are not necessarily my personal favorites, but if they fit the theme, and I thought they reflected that theme well, I will mention them because they might be someone else's favorites. That being said, I probably wouldn't recommend The Last by Hannah Jameson to anyone, or It's Behind You by Catherine Foxfield to anyone, but that's a different story. So anyway, Pine is essentially the slow burn gothic of sorts horror, where we have our main character whose mother went missing. Her father's an alcoholic, and they're living in these Scottish Highlands, which are very remote, very inaccessible. And there's this woman who they take in because she is kind of unwell. Like, I'm trying to like grasp for straws without having the synopsis at my hand on physical. But yeah, so I personally had some issues with the story itself. However, as far as nature aspect goes, I thought the whole Scottish Highland imagery and just the whole feeling of isolation and being trapped with whatever is happening around the main character, I thought that was done really well, and that was the reason that I gave it 2 stars and not lower. Like, I thought that bit was actually executed really nicely. So I would still recommend for you to check it out and see if you like that sort of story, because the atmosphere really elevates so it might even be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 star for you maybe. And then we have Rory Power's Burn Our Bodies Down. So this follows our main character who lives with her mom, doesn't really know her family, where she came from, but their life is very strained, very isolated. She doesn't have any friends or whatnot. She just wants to know where she came from and who her family are. So she sort of takes some money and dips to meet her grandparents. But that doesn't go according to plan exactly, because the estate of her grandmother, there are weird things going on. And so personally, I think when I read it, I gave this a 3 star, I think. I don't remember now. I don't even remember if I read it after I started this channel, but anyway. I'm not sure that I am a big fan of this author as an author, because something about her writing style, I don't know, something grates me a bit. I didn't like Wilder Girls that much either, but I think it's really relevant for this particular story, not story, recommendations, the narrative of these recommendations, because they're all nature themed, because this story has a really strong element of environmentalism, consumerism through its plot twists and whatnot. It makes really great commentary on agriculture and how our nature is tired of us doing whatever we want to it and how it wants to take back. I thought that was well done, even if I didn't necessarily like the story devices itself. So yeah, I enjoyed that part, and that's why I would recommend it. And I will admit partially why I didn't unhaul it was because of the cover, because it is gorgeous. But if it gets to it, I don't know, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I will probably film an unhaul, considering the last time I did an unhaul, I didn't film it. I just tossed those books. Well, donate to whatever, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I would recommend this one because it has something to say about those things, which to me is kind of nature horror, like maybe ecological horror, but ecological and nature, they are kind of interconnected in a way. I think. So I do think this fits. Then we have Sealed by Naomi Booth. This is another kind of ecological horror, I would say, but a lot of it is like centered in nature. We have our main character, Alice, who is very much pregnant and move into the small rural town with her partner, and she's trying to escape her experience with this disease cutis that kind of seals people into their skin. So think like it seals over their eyes and their mouths, like suffocate, just you get the idea. And this disease is basically caused by climate change. So I feel like there's a lot of commentary there. The story itself, I really enjoyed it. I would say this was the one book that I had to read for my university courses, a fiction book, I mean, that I genuinely enjoyed. At least on the master's course. I really enjoyed The Yellow Wallpaper, which is one that I had to read, but you know, that's more of a short story. So you get the point. I really enjoyed the story itself and the characters and the themes of like grief and whatnot that were also explored here. But as far as the nature side goes, you also have it in the setting, and you have the whole ecological climate commentary again of nature punishing us because we are ruining the planet. So yeah, I thought that was really effective and really well done, and I would recommend it. I mean, this one is short. It is only, like, I didn't realize how short it was. It is not even 200 pages. It's an easy read. And the last book I would like to recommend, I've talked about this endlessly, but it is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. It follows the story of three sisters who disappear during New Year's Eve and come back a month later, but something is not quite right. Like, they have this scar on their necks and their hair is bleached and they're just acting strange. And a few years after that, they're grown up now. One of them's a famous model, another one's a famous musician, and the third one's still living with their mom. Their father unfortunately committed suicide, so the oldest sister goes missing, and the other two are like, well, we have to find her because clearly what's happened to us as kids is happening again. And this is where we get into the whole horror territory, and I always thought after reading this that for a YA book, this is actually terrifying, and I would absolutely recommend it to people who like horror because the way it's written, it doesn't really read YA to me. It's accessible, but it's not juvenile, and this one, it's not a nature horror per se, it's definitely more like of a supernatural, mythical, but nature imagery in this book and certain ways that nature is described that just elevates that horror. It really just seeps in, like the whole description of dirt and of even flowers, of the smells that should be comforting but they're more menacing. Like, I thought that was really well done, and I have been recommending this book since the start of this channel, and I will continue to do so because it's amazing and I really love it. And these are nature-themed recommendations. I would say that a lot of thrillers that are isolated could be considered nature-themed because the scenery does play a big part in the story, but that kind of coincides with isolated, and I already made 2 videos about those, so that's why I didn't really include those thrillers here, because you can always just, you know, click on my channel and have a look at them. So yeah, if you liked this short and sweet video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, maybe subscribe if you read any of these, share your opinions if you have any more recommendations. I know that is definitely a very tip of the iceberg of what nature horror is. Like, I know that's not even close, so there'll definitely be a part 2. I just haven't got round to it quite because my TBR, as you know already if you've seen my other videos, is massive. So yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day and I'll see you next time.